Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets. Yeah, I'm breaking down to bite-sized pieces. Today, got some pretty interesting stuff. First up, 98% of CFOs say their hedge fund will have invested in Bitcoin by 2026. And this is the reason why I use the thumbnail that I use, because in my opinion, if you don't get in by this time, I think it's just too late. And you got to front run these guys before they snatch up all the value. On top of that, we'll take a look at Voyager, NASCAR driver Landon Castle to be paid in crypto in a deal with Voyager. And this, I think, is pretty big because we've already seen it as far as Bitcoin. Now we've got Voyager going after the national attention. And finally, we're going to take a look at a little story about Titan Crypto and how good old friend here, Mark Cuban, had what many would say is a rug pull, but it's not an actual rug pull, but there's just a lot of liquidity that was lost and actually wiped out in Iron Finance. So I'm going to explain exactly why this is not a rug pull, what actually happened. I'm going to bring Alex Mascioli, who himself is a pretty big liquidity provider for different exchanges. So we'll take a look at those stories, but first let's take a look what's going on in the market. So today it is the 17th, something like that, 11 o'clock a.m. and El Paso, Texas time. And things are looking pretty much the same, and everything's just moving sideways. For me personally, I like these days because these are the days that I get to dollar cost average. And this is when everybody just loses interest in crypto. And I'm like, well, you know, that's okay. You can do what you want to do. But for me, this is a gold mine because as things just move sideways and are boring and no one's paying attention, I just slowly dollar cost average. And before you know it, when we see these huge parabolic moves, everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky. It's not luck. Anyhow, we've got a market cap of $1.6 trillion. So that's looking pretty decent. Bitcoin's below 39,000, actually 38.3, Ethereum 2,300. They're all just sideways, nothing really big. Is there any big movers? 5% for Theta token. Awesome. I love that. I'm a big Theta holder, T-Fuel holder as well. 1%. Algorand up 5%. 13% for Cosmos, great for interoperability. And of course, T-Fuel up 10%. Remember, the T-Fuel and Theta mainnet 3.0 launch is coming up at the end of this month. So I would definitely look at those two projects, and we've already covered that on this channel, and Alex Mascioli's channel, and I explain why I think T-Fuel could potentially go to $1. This is not investment advice, just investment opinion, and that's what's going on in the market. Let's jump into today's top story. So this was a really great story, and I totally stole this from the guys over at the Daily Crypto Bite, Market Rebellion. If you don't follow these guys, they're great. It's John Najarian, it's CJ Reichel, and Monty, all from Market Rebellion. These guys are fantastic. They know a lot of things that are going on in the traditional side and the crypto market. And this is one of the things that John brought up, and I just thought it would be interesting to talk about front running these guys before they snatch up all the value. So what's going on here? Well, Intertrust Global, an international trust and corporate management company, polled the chief or the CFO of 100 hedge funds globally about their attention to actually purchase crypto assets. And this is what's crazy. 98%, let me say it again, 98% responded that they expect their hedge funds to have invested about 7% of their assets by 2026. Why is this such a big deal? It's a big deal because if you would ask this same question in 2017, you would have been laughed at for the vast majority, because people don't, they're like, that is just nerd money. That is just money on the internet that no one really is going to care for. It's all tulip mania and no one's going to get into it. In 4 short years, we have 98% of hedge funds globally, and not all hedge funds, but this is just a random sampling. It may be less, it may be a little bit more, are like, yeah, we're getting into crypto. And not like 1 to 2% allocation, 7%. And actually, in all reality, they're really talking about 10%. So 17% of the polled CFOs admitted that their hedge funds could have 10% of their assets allocated to cryptos such as Bitcoin. I believe it'll be higher than that as we see more inflation, as we see the different problems with quantitative easing, and as we see the different problems with the central banks just kind of messing up left and right. And really, there's only one place you can get some real great asymmetrical returns, meaning that, yes, there's going to be risk, but for the amount of money that you put in to what you can actually get out, this is, in my opinion, what I feel is good for me, the place to be. And then just to finish this up, just as a little recap, investor PTJ, Paul Tudor Jones of hedge fund Tudor Investment, said last year that he holds a small percentage of Bitcoin. Same thing with Stan Druckenmiller, and that he's invested in the benchmark crypto. European hedge fund Brevin Howard, U.S. funds firm Skybridge Capital, Fidelity, and ARK Investment have also are the biggest names and are getting into crypto. And just real quick about Paul Tudor Jones. A year ago, he was talking about 1% to 2% in Bitcoin futures only, and he was kind of wishy-washy. Well, he just came out a couple of days ago and said, nope, I'm putting 5% of my total portfolio into Bitcoin. And he's like, that's what I think it is. He talked about Jerome Powell's making huge mistakes. He doesn't think he's going to last, and that's where he's going. And this is a legend who predicted the 1987 Wall Street crash and is looked up by many in the traditional space. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I just think that where all the money is made is in the early days. And if you're here right now watching, you are so incredibly early. I can't even really put into words. So when people are saying like, Rob, you're boring and you just dollar cost average, you should really go all in. You can, but I'm telling you, I mean, for me, I've been doing this since 2017 and the returns have been outstanding for me. So when I see these studies coming about and people are going to get in slowly, I'm like, just front run those guys and I'll be okay. You do whatever you want to do. Your goals are not my goals. So let me know in the comment section. Let's move on to our next piece. So I thought this was interesting. Also stolen from the guys over at Market Rebellion. So thank you. NASCAR driver Landon Castle to be paid in crypto in deal with Voyager. So what's going on here? Landon Castle will be the first NASCAR driver paid entirely in crypto. And we've already seen sponsorships with the Bitcoin car where like, hey, here's some money, put this Bitcoin on your car and drive around, just make a bunch of left turns. That's essentially NASCAR. But for this one, they're like, hey, we're going to pay you in crypto. And Castle's like, yeah, I like crypto. So this is a sponsorship deal with Voyager, the Voyager brokerage, one I'm always talking about. And also, just real quick, if you are looking for a place to find all the different exchanges and wallets that could actually, help you out, I have an exchange and wallet fees. There is a link in the description. It is a spreadsheet on Google, and these are all the ones that I've ever used and recommend and do not recommend. And also, the affiliate links, you can get up to $25 for Bitcoin if you sign up. You don't have to use those affiliate links. You can go right there. You just won't get the $20 or $10 sign up or whatever it is. This goes everything from Voyager, and I just talk about all the different fees and all the different structures and everything else, all the way through like Cash App, Abra, Crypto.com, eToro. I don't really recommend eToro. And Coinbase Pro, don't recommend Coinbase. I mean, unless you're really new. So that's just so you know, it is there for you. You can just determine which one's best. So anyhow, so go back here. Castle, 31, first met Voyager CEO Steve Ehrlich at a crypto conference 2 years ago when Castle was speaking on a panel. He'd been pitching the sponsorship idea ever since, which is pretty amazing. I mean, imagine like, talk about really just, grinding away. Steve's like every so often like, hey man, you want to do a sponsorship? Hey man, want to do a sponsorship? And all of a sudden he's like, all right, let's do a sponsorship. That's really what it takes, determination and just longevity to really get your message out there. So good for Steve and the Voyager team. Castle said Voyager is paying in crypto. This is important. It's not like he's getting paid dollars just to talk about Voyager. He's like, he's paying in crypto, which means he believes in crypto. The payment is a portfolio of digital assets that include Litecoin and Bitcoin priced at market rates. What's interesting here is that it's a portfolio of digital assets that includes Litecoin and Bitcoin. My question is, what else are they paying him as far as like cryptocurrencies? Let me know what you think in the comment section. That'll be interesting. And Castle says, I can trade it out right away before the market changes or hang on to it as the market goes up or goes down, carve out a little bit, pay my bills with it and hold the rest, which is some of these different places. When I do sponsorships, like with iTrust and Crypto Trader, and then we just did one with Unstoppable Domains, which is that's the only ones I usually do. Unstoppable Domains will pay me in USDC, and what's great about that is I just put it into Voyager and I get like 9% interest. So like if you're gonna pay me in like if you're getting paid in dollars and you put it in your bank account, what's the point of that? I just stopped doing that. Every time I get money into my bank account for my businesses, it usually goes into Voyager or Celsius. Not everything, but a large majority because I gain interest. So why wouldn't I do that? Castle said he's been invested in crypto for several years and seen significant gains to his personal portfolio, myself included. He said he has no hesitation in putting together a deal that will pay crypto instead of cold hard cash. I like this guy already. Give that guy a follow on Twitter. Bitcoin had a high-profile debut at Indianapolis 500 as the primary sponsor for Rhinus VK. VK Connor Daly and Ed Carpenter were all in attendance at the Bitcoin convention in Miami. It's interesting. And then lastly, Kessel said, the big companies haven't done a lot of national ad campaigns, which is true. Have you ever seen anything on your local station as far as like crypto or an exchange or a currency? Never. I think the closest we have, there really hasn't been any that I can really think of. Mostly it's just been on social media. So for Voyager to go after a national ad campaign is a sign that the space is really starting to branch out. And this is why I'm a big believer in Voyager. So just so you know, the Voyager token, on my price prediction video, which you can find, just do a search, Digital Asset News, price prediction, January 2021. This is the diagram that I put in the video. And I just made some reasonable, I felt like, predictions, but one that wasn't, which was really crazy, was Voyager. It was at 29 cents. And I said it was going to 30 bucks. And the probability I said was a 9, which is going to be 100x. And people were like, that's insane. And it did sound insane back then, but you got to understand, like, the tokenomics, there's not that much. There's like, 280 million, maybe 300 million tokens for Voyager. And then if you look at the network effect of how many people that are actually coming in, Metcalfe's law and all those things, you will look at, like people coming in from like 60, 70,000 that they had in like December, January, all the way up to 1.6 million, and probably up 2 million by now. And by the end of the year, they're expecting 10 million people. So if you're going to see like people using this and going forward, Voyager token could be a pretty big asset. But some people would say, well, Rob, you don't understand, because like Voyager is a publicly traded company, so the stock will go up, not the Voyager token itself. Hold on. So real quick, there's this thing called a Voyager loyalty program. When you hold the Voyager token, this is the new one that's coming, that is in place as soon as the token swap happens, which I think is going to be the end of this month. That's what Steve has alluded to, maybe July, not for sure. But this is what we got. If you hold Voyager for like up to 500, and just real quick, anybody who, if you hold one Voyager, just one Voyager, you get 7% interest. And all the different things that you hold in Voyager, you get interest, and that fluctuates on a monthly rate. So why wouldn't people use that? So, but if you hold the Voyager token, interest is 7 across the board, doesn't matter how many you have. Interest boosters are 0.5, 1%, and 1.5%. So if you're getting 9% on USDC or whatever it is, you're gonna get 10.5% just by holding some Voyager. Also, on your trades, you're gonna get cash back, 1x, 2x, and 3x, depending on your level. Refer a friend. Right now it's at 30, it could be 35 or 40, depending. Withdrawal fee savings. Cash back on the debit card. Once that debit card comes, there's no reason for me to have a bank, quite honestly. And I'll probably be switching over. Also, you get 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3. It's free and there's desktop access, so which is all coming. And then real quick, the cashback rewards on trades. For every trade executed on the Voyager app, our smart order router achieves what is called price improvement. Price improvement means that Voyager scours the market to fill your order, which beats the quoted price in the app. For the Explorer and Navigator tiers, you'll receive 2x or 3x the price improvement normally given to customers. So if you're going to be trading into crypto, why wouldn't you just get into Voyager? It makes a lot of sense. It's super easy to use. They're gonna have a desktop app. It's on my phone right now. I use it all the time. They have limit orders. They have dollar cost average orders, which I just put in like buy this every single day, and then off you go. So for me, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal, but only time will tell. And then some people will say, these orders and these rates, I find a better rate over on this exchange or that exchange. Then go to those exchanges and use it. But I got to tell you, for the ones that I've used, 90% of the time, it's good. Is it always 100%? No, it's not. So if you want to go through 10, 20 exchanges and find a little, $1, $10, $13, whatever it is, go right ahead. I just don't have time for that. And that's why I'm a big believer in Voyager. So, and of course, I talk about the team. So let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm sure I got a lot of comments about that one. Let's move on to our last piece, which is Mark Cuban. So Mark Cuban, we did a story about him, he's into DeFi and he's really, really ecstatic about it. Great. We're excited to have you here, Mark. Fantastic. But, this is just one of those things where something just didn't go right. So what happened? So if you don't know, Iron Finance is the company behind the Titan token. This is right here. This is the iron.finance website. So Iron Finance is the company behind the Titan token. The main goal of the outfit is to provide a dollar peg stablecoin known as Iron. So you got the Titan, which is the token, and the stablecoin, which is Iron. Iron stablecoin, right? Titan token operates on Polygon. Who's a big believer in Polygon? Mark Cuban. He's already talked about how much of a big believer he is. Iron stable value, Iron, the stable coin, is backed by a variety of different collaterals, including USDC, the stablecoin of Coinbase. And this is what I want to make mention of. Iron, the stablecoin, is 75% pegged to USDC, but the other 25% was pegged to Titan, which is what you get as far as like yield farming. So Titan, the token, that was 25%. So here's what happened. Developers distribute Titan to liquidity providers to stake in various liquidity pools. So if you're going to give them some type of liquidity, they're going to give you Titan, a bunch of it. Well, it wasn't worth too much, and all of a sudden it went to 65 bucks. So people were getting paid in Titan, which is worth a lot of money. This staking allows liquidity providers to yield profits off of transactions and ensure that there is liquidity for their investors looking to buy Titan. Mark Cuban was a liquidity provider, staking his Titan on the exchange QuickSwap, and he was getting a ton of Titan tokens because he had a bunch of them. So it makes pretty sense. Cuban provides Titan and DAI, another stablecoin on the platform. When somebody buys Titan with DAI, Cuban nets 100% of the transaction profits. Doing nothing, making a lot of money, yield farming, good for him. Now here's the problem. The plunge took place after Titan reached 65 bucks before retreating to 60. Whales, or large holders of Titan, which is what you always have to watch out for in cryptocurrency, just saying Doge, watch out, saw this price gapping, as enough of a reason to cash out. As soon as whales started offloading their Titan, others began to panic sell. This is my question, and I'm going to have Alex answer this. Is a price fluctuation from $65 to $60 enough for all the whales to go, I'm out of here, this is way too much? Like, have they never been in cryptocurrency? That just seems kind of odd to me. Excess Titan tokens, this is with the domino effect. Excess Titan tokens began hitting the market, which caused Titan prices to drop off. Panic sales continued, excess tokens poured in, and prices tanked from $60 to, let's take a look. This is for Titan. Titan token is now worth from $65 to 0.00000. It's nothing. It's a nothingness. That sucks for everybody holding those bags. All right. Where are we? The Iron stablecoin is also being thrown from its peg, with values crashing from $1 to 69 cents, which makes sense because 75% is the USDC, or 25% the Titan, so it's probably down in the dumps. Let's see, actually, it's 73 cents. Makes sense, right? 75%, 25%. Okay, got it. And then it should be made clear, this does not seem to be a rug pull scam. Not all the different developers just took off with the money, but all the whales sold, so it's still, you still lost a ton of money. Cuban has taken to Twitter today to address some of the many questions about the fall of Titan. He denies he was the whale in question. Oh, I'm sure, saying he got hit like everybody else, which is weird because he says he got hit like everybody else, yet he also said that he got out before everybody else. So which one is it? The Titan crypto has lost over $1.75 billion in total value locked on Polygon. The company is planning on somehow reimbursing holders. So we will see. So there's some things that just, look, some things to me just don't make sense for this one. So I need somebody smarter than me, which let's get Alex in here. Alex Mascioli was head of institutional investment for Bequant Services. Now he is the co-founder of Trade the Chain. He does a lot with farming, liquidity providing for different areas, and he talks to all these guys. So let's get him in here to get some of the insider information. All right, everybody, we got Alex Mascioli on the show because he's one of the guys that actually does these things. He's a big, or a semi-large liquidity provider in different exchanges. So Alex, thanks for coming on. So I got two questions for you. We just read the article. We took a look at it. First of all, do you think that whales seeing the price of Titan go from 65 to 60 would cause them to start panic selling, and that would just just implode? And then also, do you think that Mark Cuban got out in time? And if you saw these types of things happening with what the TVL for that you do for liquidity provider, would you have said, you know what, time for me to get out too? Because you do these things, I don't do these things. So Alex, thanks for coming on. Take it away.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, Rob. First of all, I'm not a professional liquidity provider player. I do like to do it, but it is a full-time job for those that are serious about it. And what happened yesterday with Titan is a good example of why it's a full-time job. First of all, to the first question of would the whales have realistically sold at 65 or at 60 when they saw it go down $5? I think for anybody who's been around the block and does this sort of role playing in crypto, the writing was on the wall that the velocity of price action over the last couple of weeks with Titan Iron was so much so, and the total value lockup had increased so much. I mean, this is a super young project and it had billions of dollars in lockup. So I think anybody, the whales who had their money playing behind this were grabbing all the APY they could. They saw that it was probably getting to a point where it was becoming overvalued. And so a tick down $5 was enough to say, listen, I think the ice is beginning to crack. Let's get off the lake before we fall through. That being said, that's the risk that people play with a type of coin like this. We have a coin that's a 75% stable coin and 25% stable by algorithmic price movements in another coin. Yeah. That's a roulette wheel every day of the week. Do I think Mark Cuban got out? Well, listen, I don't know. I don't know, but anybody who didn't get out is that's high profile is probably not going to say that they didn't get out. So, to each their own.
Each their own. I wonder how fast, because if you're Mark Cuban, you're a billionaire. You're probably not that guy who's sitting behind the computer screen going, checking everything. I'm sure he's got a couple other things to do during the day. Maybe he just says, hey, you handle this. Make sure it doesn't do this, this, and this. Maybe when somebody was looking at all the prices and all the selling, going, wait, something bad's going on. Mark, this is what's happening. This looks not too good. Sell it all. Boom. And that could probably be it. Maybe that could be it.
Well, here. Now you're raising some interesting conspiracy theories, right? So anybody who was watching the chart yesterday, who happened to be in this thing, saw that the downward trajectory of price was rapid. Okay, and it took no breaks. It took no breaks along the way.
Oh, okay. How? All right. Because I didn't see it, but I mean, because I know you've taken a look at it, but how fast was it? Are we talking about like an hour?
We're talking mere hours.
Hours. Okay.
And so let's dig into Mark Cuban's life for a moment here.
Sure. Yeah.
You're Mark Cuban. You're probably, it's the afternoon on a Wednesday. You might be in your private jet somewhere. You might be down at the NBA team court that you own shooting hoops. Who knows? I'm pretty sure you're right. He doesn't have anybody watching the computer. So somebody who he does have it tries to reach him. Now, hey, yeah, it's Bob in the office. Can you get Mark on the line? Sure, he's traveling. Let me call him. We'll get a hold. And it's probably a couple hours later that Mr. Cuban gets back to the guy he put in charge of DeFi, right? He has a lot going on.
Yeah.
That being said, that's why I don't think he probably got out, because of the rapid time decay and price drop.
I have an alternative theory. I think Mark Cuban, his wife told him probably go to the store, get some milk. He's in the line at Walmart on the self-checkout because he's a busy guy. He's at Walmart going, okay, I got the 2%. What's this on my cell phone? Oh, I'll be damned. Oh, I should get out. That's probably what happened.
Now, funny enough, I spoke to a couple of hedge funds yesterday evening in regards to Titan, and called up some whale investors, and they all said the same story. Don't worry about it, Alex. Yeah, I saw that. I got out. First of all, I know for a fact one investor was like in the middle of the 9th hole on a golf course, right? Yeah. The other one of the hedge funds, he was out in his house in the Hamptons. So who knows who's telling the truth?
I think they're all full of it. Anyhow, but you got to save face. You got to save face, right? That makes sense. Okay, Alex, I don't want to take more of your time. Any words of wisdom something to take away from this? What do you say to the investor out there?
Yeah, make sure you understand what part of crypto you're investing in. Understand it fully. And go to danteachescrypto.com to get the basics if you don't have them yet.
Obviously, king of the show. All right, Alex, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Let's jump back. All right, so I hope that cleared it up. Thanks, Alex, for coming on because I just didn't get it. That makes a lot more sense to me. So look, if you made it all this way to the end, first of all, thanks. I appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, found some value in the video. Also consider subscribing. A lot of things we talk about on this channel is time sensitive. A lot of things we talk about over at Dan Clips are more for the advancements in digital assets and also for the new projects that are coming down, which we just covered CardStarter, which is on the Cardano ecosystem for their smart contracts. So check that out. Dan Clips, links in the description. That's it for today. Thanks so much. See you on the next one.